The Semitic people is in connection with the Anunnaki, the gods, right? And it talks about the fall of the Watchers, the Anunnakis. And other terrestrial forces that do exist as well, that had a hand to do with the co-creation of man. And all of these different galaxies and star systems and things of that nature has to do with the ecosystems of other beings. And them being co-creation of man is where you get your zodiac signs from, is what connects you to these extended galactic ancestors. As a son of man, that's where you get your personality, your characteristics, your missions, as to what you're supposed to do here on Mother Gaia. Mother Gaia is an assimilation for the growth of the soul, for the soul to be able to grow, to become better, do better, live better, fulfill better at a higher consciousness of state of mind. It's an assimilation of a cycle of growth, of evolution. This is something that the different galactic forces were only able to experience to a certain extent in the creation of man and the becoming, the evolution of a soul, y'all. The evolution of a soul. This is something that had never been done, and they wanted to try it out to see what would happen when you take a soul and put it through these series of trials, tribulations, experiences, the outcome that happened. It's the most beautiful, amazing form of life that exists in the universe. But because of the amount of darkness, when I say darkness, I mean dark matter, that exists here on Mother Gaia, there needs to be a cleansing that needs to take place. So, Alon said, all right, I created you, which is sons of God, the angels. I am your creator, right? But now let's partner up and let's create a new creation of beings that you can have authority over, right? You have territory and dominion. I'm still the head over all of over everything, but when it comes down to leading the people in the direction to where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to do, you get to call the shots. As long as you keep my laws, commandments, and decrees that I gave you, you instill those in your creation, everything will stay in its divine order. The gods, the angels, create sons of man, along with Elohim, They had to create a planetary life for them, and planetary life, all planetary life is living. It has to live. It has to be. It has to live. It has to be. But its operation, its systems, is created in such a way that only answers to that of which has authority over it. This realm that was created, right? This realm, Mother Gaia, that was created is an extension of authority and territory. Is the realm of the gods, the angels. Let that sink in for you. And and Mother Gaia answers to the authority of these gods, of these angels, who has territory and dominion over it, as it was designed to be. Unless Elohim speaks over it, because Elohim is a higher extension of authority over that of which governs this realm. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? So, the angels, the sons of God, have authority over sons of man. That's how it was designed to be. That's why in the Old Testament there were so many instances where you would hear about the people in these tribal cultures and communities crying out to Elohim, to Yahweh, because of what had dominion and territory over it, and authority over it. Even though these sons of God had fallen, this world, this realm, was designed for them to have authority, dominion, and territory over it. There were 9 archangels. One defied Elohim. He was able to convince 200 of the higher ranking angels to defy and go against the laws and commandments and decrees of Elohim. And 10,000 of each of the lower ranking angels to defy Elohim's laws, commandments, and decrees. 200 higher ranking angels that they have authority over. And under those 200 higher ranking angels is 10,000 lower ranking angels that they have authority over. Lucifer, the morning star, which is connected to the planetary of Venus. That's why I'm explaining this to y'all, because it's so important for y'all to understand the planetary, the astronomical position of all of this. Because each planet is a representation of a galactic force of creatures, of beings that are of godlike nature. They are gods within themselves, right? So the morning star, which is connected to the planet Venus, which is connected to beauty, and things of that sort. What the eyes can see, it's about sensory, right? It's all connected to sensory. What the eyes can see, what the nose can smell, what the ears can hear, what the hands can touch, and what you can taste. It's beauty in sensory. It's a lot of beauty in sensory, and it is very much so connected to a lot of the things that sons of man experience and take into account, a high account, in regards to their experience of Mother Gaia, or what it's like to be in this realm, this simulation. So the morning star, which is Lucifer, which is connected to the planet of Venus, which is the planet of beauty, in its sensory, y'all. In its sensory, I don't mean just like beauty, like you see somebody, they're beautiful. It's like the aesthetics of it, like the sensory of it, like the senses. It deals with the five senses, right? It's very so much connected to the five senses, and it deals a lot with what one experiences and what one desires, to the point that because of Lucifer's defiance in going against its creator, meaning Elohim, Yahweh, because of the desire and lust that was filled within these beings, these galactic beings, these God-natured beings, to want possession over their own creation, to the degree that they were willing to come and mate and intermingle with their own creation. That is a form of incest, but it's on a spirit. It's we call it. It's more spiritual than anything, because it's spiritual incest. Like I told you, I gave y'all an example. Like, father can't sleep with his daughter. That's wicked. Cause you created this. Like, you created this. Now you want to have so much of a possession over it, to the degree that you want to sleep with it. You want to have these intimate experiences with this creation that you created, because you allowing for your senses, your field of sensory, to overtake your spirit man. Your desires of carnality of self is spiritually corrupt, to the degree that you allow for your desires to lead and to tempt and taint your body altar, and it corrupted the spirit man, to the degree that your soul is also tainted in the process as well. And at that degree, ain't no coming back from that. Ain't no coming back from that. So I say this because I'm about to explain to y'all some deeper history, right? So if you ever get into an expansiveness of knowledge in regards to like ancient history, ancient texts, whether it's on the esoteric level or exoteric knowledge, Just to boil it down, because there's so many different belief systems that exist. But like when you get to more expansiveness and knowledge, you'll start to see how a small percentage of the population um, is able to understand or follow esoteric knowledge in regards to those that relate or is able to accept or understand more exoteric knowledge, which is a lot of the more surface level knowledge based, faith based information that's out here. Because a lot of people, just to be honest, they just like things that can be proven, and there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what we've been designed and taught to believe for so long. But if you have the ability to be open-minded and expand knowledge further, as you get more into like esoteric knowledge and things of that sort, you would begin to have a better understanding of why things are the way that they are, and how everything is interconnected to each other, and how everything has a spiritual basis to it. Everything from the design and structure of our bodies, down to the planetary systems, down to nature itself, ecosystems, having to do with living creatures, mankind, just everything, the cycle of life in general, the cosmic cycles, astronomical knowledge, having to do with the study of astronomy, even going into cosmology information, doing the study of cosmic nature, and how everything is interconnected with each other, and how you have different knowledge that incorporates two or more belief systems, or two or more belief systems, or structured realities that create something new. Like you have astrology and stuff like that. Astrology is only a combination of the study of astronomy, physics, and cosmology. So it's more than one. It's 3 studies, and it also has like I forgot what, like, and it has a form of, it has an occultic, let me say it has an occultic centered belief system wrapped up in it. So you got physics, astronomy, cosmology, and occultism mixed up in the study of astrology. And the reason why occultism is a part of this creation of studies having to do with astrology is because of the intentionality that's set behind one wanting to know astrological information. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So when the gods, the angels, began to sleep with man, creating a new creation of beings, that's what they were doing. They became to be these distorted beings because it was a form of spiritual incest. It went against divine order, right? So the intentionality that was already set within the reason as to why the sons of God wanted to procreate or to be intimate with their own creation, because they were co-creators with their own creation, and to defy Elohim in the process of doing it is the reason as to why the creation of sons of man and sons of God turned out to be distorted, because it was a bad seed. The intentions that was set behind it is what was created. So yeah. And what makes it bad is that these beings have no connection to Elohim. They have no connection to Elohim. That were created, these Nephilims, these giants, they have no connection to Elohim, because Elohim was not a co-creator in the creation of it. It was just sons of man and sons of God. And the intentionality of it was to defy God. So the seed of that creation that became into the reality of the realm of Mother Gaia and is the reason why everything went downhill until the fall of mankind and the falling of the angels. Because how you think you're supposed to create something without the okay from the Creator? Even when we have children as sons of man, it was already designed to be so, because that's why God created for Adam a mate for procreation. The co-creators didn't do that. Sons of God didn't do that. They didn't have anything to do with that. All of that was Elohim. All of that was Elohim in the creation of woman for man and man for woman to procreate in order for them to be able to create. That's why any double-mindedness or distortedness when it come down to the idea of procreation and wanting to go against the divine laws and commands and decrees is something that was implanted in man with the falling of the angels. Which means there is still some type of stronghold, whether it be a principality, whether it be dark forces, entities, spiritual wickedness, is the reason as to why there's still a distorted mindset and double-mindedness in the ideal of procreation, and the reason as to why there should be man and woman and woman and man, and why people get so offensive over it has a lot to do with the connection of the fallen angels putting in place certain principalities to try to defy Elohim in ways of not having man to procreate, because they didn't have a part to do with that. They were pissed off about Elohim creating for Adam a woman, because they didn't have women. These sons of God were men. They didn't have women. Which is why they came to procreate with their own creation. Those sons of man's daughters. Because they had a part to do with man, the creation of man, which is why it is a man's birthright to be, to become, to do, to create, to live, to fulfill. It is a man's birthright. Because you've been blessed on all sides. You've been blessed by both the galactic forces of the gods and also blessed by Elohim, the supreme creator, to be, to do, to create, to live, to fulfill, to do. Because in the creation of you, we're the co-creators of life itself, including your co-creator, Mother Gaia. You have the authority to call into your existence your manifold, that of which you want to become, or of that of which you want to manifest. Whereas with a woman, she is an extension of the man, right? The woman is the extension of the man. And though she has the ability to be the holder and the holder of the creation and giving birth to this creation, because she was given birth to. So of course this gift was given to her because she was given birth to. She was given birth to. And through her, birth is given through procreation. The ability to procreate. Sons of God didn't like this. Elohim, we created man to have authority over man, but then you go behind us and you give him a mate, you give him a woman. We don't have no woman. We're not able to mate. We're not able to procreate. What's going on here? What's going on? And this was the beginning to the fall of both the angels, sons of God, we call them, and sons of man. Yeah. So this god or goddess that is being portrayed in Roman culture is an extension of an actual fallen angel. It's in Semitic cultures hold this information to be truth, and it's a connection to this information being gathered by European cultures and taking this information and creating their own versions of gods and goddesses to be a representation in culture for them, to give them motivation, light, encouragement through a lot of the hardships that a lot of Europeans experience because of their defiance against Elohim. Because, and that's what I was trying to break down to y'all, their defiance against Elohim had to do with them choosing to procreate and to go against the laws, commandments, and decrees of Elohim during the fall, and still choosing to worship that of which they were supposed to give up. Because it was still interactions, y'all. It was still interactions between man and gods even after the flood. Which is why you get to that's why when you get down to like the Philistines, and it talks about how David had to go against Goliath. Goliath was a giant, y'all. So there was still instances even in Sodom and Gomorrah before Elohim had the angels to go to Sodom and Gomorrah and burn down the entire location, the entire land. to burn it down, to destroy. When he had them to go down and destroy the land and its people, they were participating in things such as this. Still having interrelationships with still having a connection to still having relations with the gods, but in a different form though. Things was taking so much of a form because, like, alright, I'm trying not to like say stuff in a way where it just spooks y'all out, or where it's like y'all get lost in the sauce. But like angels had the ability to connect with beings, and they had the ability to have possession over the human body, but it was supposed to be for the intentions of good, but it ended up being for the intentions of bad. And the angels had the ability to shapeshift. Even after the flood, which was more so of getting rid of these new creatures of being, more so than getting rid of the fallen angels. Let me explain this to a way for y'all to understand. Some of the fallen angels, which is like the higher ranking angels, were banded and bonded in the deepest parts and crevices of Mother Gaia, in the earth's core, right? To serve time and to serve judgment for their betrayal to Elohim. But it wasn't all of them. Not all of the angels that partook in the defiance to go against the decrees, laws, and commandments of Elohim were condemned to the same level of judgment as those who knew better. So they still had reign. They were still watchers of the earth for a while, up until the New Testament. They were still watchers of the earth. And even still after that, it wasn't up until Yeshua died on the cross for the sins of the people was a new transition into the Christ consciousness of mind, body, and spirit, where sons of man had the ability to be apart from that of which had authority over it, meaning sons of God, meaning the fallen angels. They had the ability to separate from their co-creator to the degree that their co-creator didn't have authority over them as they once had. So now you have the choice to be attached to a new lineage of gods that are still in alignment with Elohim. Before it wasn't like that. But that was a big turning point, right? So when in the Old Testament, the archangels, in the Old Testament, the angels, the fallen angels, not all of them were sent directly into judgment. They still had the ability to roam free. And they were still considered to be watchers over man. Like I said, up until the time of Christ consciousness, when Yeshua died on the cross for the sins of man, to allow for man to be free from the authority of that of which had authority over it, meaning whatever lineage of sons of God that they were attached to.